8:45. So if you are a regular Good Day LA viewer, you probably already know that unlike tens of millions of others, I will not be watching football tomorrow. But maybe Dr. Natalie Dattilo will change my mind. She is a licensed practicing psychologist at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston and an instructor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School. In other words, the woman knows what she's talking about. And she says watching would actually be good for my mental health. I'm not so sure. I think it might take a lot more than that to deal with this. But that being said, Dr. Dattilo, welcome to Good Day LA. Thank you for joining us. So how can football be good for one's mental health? I don't see the connection. Help me make that connection.
Okay, I will try to convince you. And thank you for having me. So what if I told you that watching football is actually really good for developing a skill called emotion regulation? There are very few activities in life that teach us how to manage emotional highs and lows in real time. And maintaining good emotional and psychological balance is a healthy way to cope with life's challenges. It also helps to strengthen a sense of common purpose, which can help you feel less isolated and alone. And finally, it provides a diversion, something to take our minds off the day-to-day stress and struggle.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, and that could obviously be something that's very good for you. I have to tell you, I mean, in addition to just not knowing a lot about sports, which is probably the biggest deterrent to me watching sports, the other thing is that I tend to just lose it when I'm watching a sports activity. If I'm emotionally invested in whatever it is I'm watching. A, is that unusual? And B, is that still good?
Yeah, that's part of the deal. It's, it can be a rush and it's thrilling and it can be exciting. And the next moment it can be devastating and heartbreaking. And so, yes, it is intense, but part of that is the ability to regulate and kind of pull yourself back together and not completely lose it.
You know, you talked a little bit, at least in the notes that I read, about delayed gratification. And, that's a concept that we certainly have heard a lot about. But I guess in this particular situation, in the context of sports, it can be really important.
It is really important. And I think it's also a skill that we haven't been able to practice as much as we would like to because we have such instant gratification in our day-to-day life and our society now. We get the answers that we need very quickly. We don't often have to wait for an outcome, except in the context of sports. You can't speed up the game. You have to wait until the end to find the result, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. Unless, of course, I mean, if you have one team that's really fantastic playing a team that has just done nothing, you kind of figure what the outcome is going to be. But then if there is a surprise ending, right?
There could be. There could be. And also, if it's not that exciting of a game, well, you get to learn how to manage some boredom.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so there's the benefit in that. One of the other things that you talk about, and I'd like to explore this a little bit because I think it's really important. It is the ability to exert control over one's emotional state, and that can be really hard.
It is again, the emotion regulation piece, which is a skill. It's something that we teach people how to do in the work that I do in the psychological treatments, which is how to maintain a sense of control or emotional balance so that we're not feeling too extreme on one end or the other, and you kind of are able to cope.
And what about the power of gratitude? Because that gets in the mix here as well, doesn't it?
This is the time of year. This is gratitude season. This is a time when we're practicing thankfulness. And gratitude is one of the most important emotions to cultivate because it has the power to shift your perspective almost immediately. So it keeps you grounded and present, and it anchors you to the things that you have as opposed to the things that you don't. You know what?
Speaking of gratitude, I mean, we've all been through a really tough year and a half. We're still in the middle of this pandemic right now. And it may be, I think, maybe a little tougher for people to see through all of what we've been through, to be thankful necessarily for what we do have. And I would think that maybe because we have been through so much, it's particularly important to be grateful for what we can be grateful for.
I would agree with that 100%. I think it's when we are experiencing adversity and difficult times that practicing gratitude is probably even more important. Counting your blessings and spending some time each day thinking about the things that you're thankful for because things are going well is great. We should probably do that. But it's even more important to spend some time thinking about the things that you're appreciative of when it's not going well. And
this is
looking for the benefits in that too.
And this is the perfect time of year to do that. Dr. Dattilo, thank you so much for talking. I think this is a really important conversation, and I think it's one I think we need to not only have with ourselves, but to also share, I think, with our loved ones during this time of year, now that we can finally get together and be together in the way that we used to, with certain precautions, but still, it's a great step in the right direction. Dr. Dattilo, thanks so much.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you.